Okay, we're live, we're recording, everything's perfect. Okay, welcome, JCK. This is such an honor to have you here. It's been absolutely, I was so nervous for today and so excited at the same time. So I am Liesl Smith, and let me just give you a bit of backstory here for the people that don't know. So I'm an online business mentor. And I met JC back in 2020. Well, I found JC back in 2020 because I'm in online business, but back then I wasn't even actually. But I'm a homeschooling mom, and I love traveling. And with everything that was happening in 2020, like, our freedoms were absolutely destroyed. And freedom, I've come to learn, it's in my gene keys, it's all these things. Freedom, I'm passionate about freedom in all ways. And so that's how I started following JC, because her and I just resonated with her message. She was always trying to give the positive side of things and really make it intentional to give the positive information rather than sitting on the doom and gloom and that kind of stuff. And that really resonated with me. And so it came to the point in 2021, I believe, where JC actually put out a request for moderators on her Facebook group because JC couldn't do it herself anymore. She was banned from Facebook.
Banned.
Yeah. And so then I volunteered, and that's how I actually got to meet you, kind of not in real life, but like more in real life than like just knowing you on social media. And that kind of cemented something inside me, like the positive effect of this social media can have, because I got to meet you, who was you were somebody who I was watching and then learning from, and then I could actually speak to you and actually get to know you on a personal level. And that really switched something inside of me, then made me really go from, because I was the kind of person before who would never post anything on social media about myself, my privacy. I didn't have a profile picture, I had like an animal and stuff like that. I was that type of person before. And I think it was a pivotal moment that when I connected with you and got into your Facebook group as a moderator and interacting with you, that something switched for me. And so that's the background story of how I met JC. So very much welcome, JC. And please introduce yourself to everybody who might not know you.
Well, hi everyone, and hope you. Well, I won't be able to see this on Facebook, but I'm living it and breathing it. So my name online is JCK, and I've got a YouTube channel. It kind of started accidentally in 2020, and the YouTube channel is called Quantum Truths JCK. And I too am a mum who homeschools, and I have one autistic daughter, and she's 8 years old now, and very much family orientated. So, for myself, my background's in arts. I'm actually an artist by profession and also a psychic. And I don't like to, before I had a public following, and my following kind of blew up in 2020, and my videos sort of went viral when I shared some psychic journeying or some astral journeying that I had done. And these were just little videos that I had created, and I thought I'd start a little Facebook group myself. I put myself out there. I didn't expect to have a big following. It was supposed to be a private little Facebook group, and it blew up and it went viral. And during lockdown, because everybody was at home, unable to work, more people were engaged on social media. And that's why, through, I guess, destiny, these things blew up, and everybody wanted to know what was happening in the future because they found out that I was a psychic. And in my real life, if I wasn't publicly known, I wouldn't have told people in day-to-day that I do psychic work, not because I'm ashamed of it, but because I understand the ramifications of that. And so for me to be out there publicly discussing these very esoteric things, and things that can be very controversial and divisive as well, it was very important for me to always speak truth and to change the perception of what people assumed about myself and about psychic work. And so I always came from truth, and that's where the quantum truths, the truth was very important. People wanted to know what was going on in the world, what was the truth. And I've come to the conclusion that there are multiple truths, that there are, this is a quantum reality, and that there are, depending on the aspect in which you are observing things, your truth may seem true for you. And so I essentially, just very quickly, still going on about myself and just explaining who I am, my philosophy is about truth and being as absolutely raw and as honest and putting yourself out there as possible. And there is nothing to hide. Like when I first started, because I rose to popularity so quickly, people were trying to take me down. I had a lot, and you would have known this, Lise, we had a lot of people were trolling me. A lot of people were saying, talking about my appearance. I used to wear red lipstick a lot, or they would say, you can't be spiritual. Why have you got red lipstick? Or why are you showing your cleavage? Or why have you got makeup on? Or you've got black hair, you must be a witch. These sorts of things. And it's far from the truth, so there was a lot of that. There was a lot of people trying to take me down. And so for me, it was really important, especially knowing what was going on in alternative media as well as mainstream media with deception. Really, really important that I was always brutally honest, because it doesn't serve anyone to hide anything. And so in everything that I do, I'm as absolutely brutally honest as possible, and I own my mistakes as well. And so that's something that people were not used to seeing, and that's why the following kind of blew up, because that's what people could connect to me, because they knew they could trust me. That's basically what happened.
that is amazing, because like you say, like I think a lot of people, like even like what I was in the past, we have this very negative connotation of like bad things can happen if you share too much of yourself on social media, especially I think people that are aware of more of the kind of things happening in life, like which were the kind of people that we would surround ourselves with, right? And then yes, coming out on social media and having such a positive influence, it really inspired me. And I wanted to ask you, how has it changed your life personally, like kind of being like, so to say, famous almost?
Yeah, it was very much like I was famous. I did get stopped even during lockdown. People would recognize me and things like that. Probably doesn't happen so much anymore. There's a lot more people out there. But at the time, because it felt like everyone was kind of shut down and in their own little worlds, and they were looking for awake people, I guess, in a sea of people who were asleep. And it changed my life in many ways. There was already a change occurring, and that's why I started the channel. I was already feeling very dissatisfied with life in terms of not being heard. And that's why I branched out, and I thought, you know what, fuck it. Instead of overthinking everything, instead of like always, wanting to share my truth on my own private Facebook group and nobody responding, I'm going to make my own little group. So the way it changed my life, just before I started my channel, I'd say about 6 months or more before I started my channel, my husband and I were separated. So I separated from him. There was a lot of issues going on. We were still living under the one roof, but I was separated from him. And so the way this changed my life, you can imagine, I was already a pariah in my family, because I was not going to, get the what, and I wasn't going to follow what was told, because I had so many questions around what was happening. I was very protective of my daughter around that. And I just didn't agree with the mainstream. And so the way it changed my life was that I suddenly became, while being rejected by the people around me, or what it felt like in the people in my life, I suddenly had this massive worldwide family. And it connected me to thousands and thousands of people who've now become my best friends. Nearly all my moderators have become my closest friends. The people that did not honor my true self in my life, even though I'd known them for 30, 40 years. I mean, I'm 47 years old. but people I grew up with, they all dropped me, you know, because they saw what had happened to me on social media. So there was good and bad. My life got turned upside down. I suddenly stopped, you know, lifelong issues around abundance. That was just something I was always, you know, even though I was a very gifted artist and psychic, and I had, you know, I'm the type of person that I start a hobby, I know how to do it. I just have these many, many past lives of knowing how to do things. I'm one of those people that was a straight A student. I was very good at everything. All of a sudden, everything I had ever learned in my life all kind of formed into this one job. Okay, so it culminated into this social media content creator utilizes every single one of my gifts. And I suddenly became valuable, and I suddenly became seen, and all of my wishes kind of came true in that when I took that plunge of being public and didn't care about what people thought about me and didn't second guess myself and didn't, you know, I used to always be like, how do I make money? I don't quite know how to make money. And I would always second guess myself, or I'd have these brilliant ideas and then I'd go, oh, I talk myself out of it. And the minute I said F it, you know, F it, I'm not going to swear, but, you know, stuff this, I'm just going to be myself. I'm just going to put myself out there. And I didn't think about money. I didn't think about how do I make money. I just put myself out there. Things started happening. Suddenly I was abundant in friends. I was abundant in a network of people that could help. I was abundant in opportunities. I was abundant in ideas. The creativity began flowing. I worked so hard. I worked harder than I'd ever worked before. I used to think that I was lazy. I used to sit there and think, why can't I achieve things? I must be lazy. But it turns out that a 9-to-5 job isn't for me. And I wasn't lazy. I just was in the wrong field. And I had other priorities. And it was kind of gearing me up for this sort of social media content creator business. And really, I was flying by the seat of my pants. And, you know, at the start of this interview, before we went live, you said, do you want me to read to you the questions that, you know, I've got for you? And I said, no, don't read them to me. Just ask me and I'll fly by the seat of my pants, because that's how I work. I press record and I start talking. And it really, it was like the biggest life lesson for me, because it tested this aspect of me, which was, you know, it's kind of like feel the fear and do it anyway, right? I kind of would, where I used to second guess myself, I was working so hard and so fast in those early months that I didn't have time to second guess myself. I just threw myself into it. And my observation in life is that everyone who is successful at what they do and abundant in their life, or they're on their journey, that they're on their right path of their soul, they don't think things through. They literally just do it, right? Nearly everyone I know where I've seen their ideas and I've gone, I could do better than that. You know, like back in the day, I used to say, I had a better idea than that, and they went and did it. They're usually they just went for it, right? And they worked it out along the way. They didn't feel they had to be the expert before they started. They just did it. And that's how I was. I wasn't the expert, you know, on social media. I wasn't the expert on how to do a podcast. I wasn't an expert on how to write a blog. I wasn't an expert in any of the technical things. I still have to look up how to do a bloody scheduled live on YouTube. And I was, you know, using a shitty little, I mean, this isn't my usual setup. I'm just, I haven't set up my proper microphone, but this is, you know, I still use it, you know, sometimes a shitty little camera, or I use a shitty little phone, and it's just how I work. And so the way it changed my life is, I guess, abundance. It got rid of a lot of the roadblocks that I put up for myself. It brought me friends and networks. It brought me opportunities, and it made me learn that I was capable of a lot more than what I thought I was. Things have slowed down a little bit, only because I've forced it to slow down, because, you know, I just used to get inundated and I did get burnt out. and I physically got very, I wasn't well. I was very fatigued and burnt out. And so now I'm a lot more centered, and I've got to find that fine line between slowing right down and throwing myself back in again, because when I slow down too much, I start overthinking. And so I stop myself from creating. And so you've got to kind of create and flow and not think about things too much, but at the same time have your finger on the pulse and know, sort of be strategic about a few things. So that's some of the things that have come in my life. It's come full circle now. I'm back to, for me, a lot of stuff has changed in my personal life, and I just am very much focused on the family and focused on, not just being this working mum. I didn't want to be like my mother, who was very, 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 she was a CEO and hardworking and just was a workaholic. And I was starting to become like that. And I didn't want to be like that. And that's the fine line with social media, is that if you are a content creator, especially for women, we've got to learn what the balance is. And with men, people they don't care. They just sort of go, oh, well, look at that YouTube content creator. He's traveling the world, and, his kids are back home or whatever. And, and I just can't do that. I can't do that. I did go overseas last year because we ran a retreat, but that was, something I had to do. It was a few weeks, and while I was gone, my daughter broke her leg. So it's like, I'm just too scared to just leave her again. And that's the thing that, the mothers always have that, working mums.
Exactly. Like, I can resonate so much with it. Like, to like summarize like what you said, like that line in the sand moment of like, duck it, I'm going to do it. Yeah. I'm going all out. Like, that is also what was for me, like, from not showing my face on social media to coming out and saying like, duck it. Like, these people know everything and they want to know about me already. If they want to know it, I'm just going to use this for my benefit, and I have very much the same thing, like with my daughter. She's also 8, she's like the same age as your daughter. Yeah. And I went away for 2 days to Germany for an event with Enagic. And when I came back, her hair actually started falling out, because her and I, we co-sleep still at this time, and it was quite stressful for her that I went away, even though we prepared her and everything like that. So yes. So in that way, social media is for me fabulous, that I could have like for instance, my business and be at home with my kids all the time. But then at the same time, it's like you say, that balance of like, you have to find that balance. And what you said, like with the feminine and, like rest when you need to rest.
Yeah.
But yeah, and not get in your mind, because I never knew this about myself, but I'm also an overthinker that gets roundly stuck in there. So that's so beautiful that you shared this. And would you, looking back at like this last 3 years, would you have changed anything about it if you could do it again?
Everything is, I don't regret anything. I look back and I say, I wish I handled certain relationships better. There were certain times when I was so stressed, and I really blew up at a few people who were crossing my boundaries. You see, you've got to understand, everyone wanted a piece of me. It did feel like I was very famous for a period of time, because there was this thing, sorry, I've got something in my eye. There was this thing where this period of time where everyone, like I was getting thousands of emails and I had no help. And every time I tried to ask for help, the people that were helping me were out for themselves. They were, there was always some kind of undercurrent of the people that were supposed to be helping me were trying to get benefit from me in some way. And I was the one always carrying everyone on my shoulders. I was the one who, I had the big following. I mean, I still have the big following. It's there's a lot of people with, for example, they wanted to use my platform to do things and stuff. So I didn't know who to trust. And there were people that I probably, I probably could have communicated things better with them in terms of that I didn't like, that they crossed me or that they were not doing what I'd asked. And I just feel like because I was so short of time, I blew a lot of people off and I'd cut them off. I would literally just cut them off. Because I just couldn't, I just didn't have time, and I couldn't trust everyone. Like there was literally, and I don't know if your audience might be a bit scared about this, you've got to understand the background I come from. I'm not just 3D, so I do a lot of, I have a lot of, let's say, experiences with the spiritual and interdimensional stuff. And, this was like spiritual warfare. There was, absolutely 100% covens of dark witches who were doing things to interfere with my life. And so from that, I sort of had to be really, really careful and cautious with who I allowed close to me and who I did business with. And that's the stuff that, but you see, in all the negativity, you learn from that, and there's a lot of, sort of like interpersonal relationships, but also business relationships that I wish had been a lot better. Some people have come back around again, and so like people that I lost contact with that I was probably having business relationships with have sort of emailed me again. And I guess people go in and out of each other's lives during this period, but I guess that's the main regret. I guess you can call it a regret, but it's a lesson that I've learned, that I have to, communication is really important. And the other thing was to slow down, because I was really, this was pretty regular, where I would stay up for like 36 hours working. That's not good, to stay up for 36 hours and, having lots of coffee and not eating. And that has since really damaged my adrenals. And although I was working really hard and burning the candle at both ends, and doing everything by myself, I think that I know now to have the balance. But you've got to experience the dark in order to, appreciate the light.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I mean, you're on a whole different level than the most everyday people. But I think like for anyone to go out there and show themselves on social media, it does take a bit of courage. Like when you are kind of in the awareness,
especially at that time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like what we already said about the ducket moments and stuff, you kind of also just have to take that leap and just do it without thinking about it too much as well. And like, for instance, now, like I'm just seeing in our comments here, like that some people can't see our video, and I'm like trying to fix it. And it's like, there's always stuff that goes and happens and stuff. But
we've got a recording here. So if you can hear us, guys, we are recording, and Lise will definitely upload it on her Facebook for later for you to watch. And I will upload on my YouTube channel, and you can watch it there as well.
Because I see Jason's trying to help us out, but it's like,
oh, Jason.
Yeah, he's absolutely a star. So thank you so much, JC. Like, this has absolutely been amazing talking to you. And I think sharing the side of you, like you said, you don't often get interviewed, like you're usually doing the interview. And hearing this other side is amazing. And how it touches your life personally, and like all the good that it has brought you,
it taught me about also business practices and stuff like that. And I'm one of those people that I'm not going to attend a business seminar on how to do it. I literally was blessed with a very beautiful audience, a very responsive audience, an audience that was very, the engagement was there, and that laying the groundwork. And I can give this advice to anyone who's watching or listening right now, that if you are going to do anything online where you want to create a business, for example, affiliate business, or you want to create social media content, be honest. Don't create a persona, right? Don't create this. You often see these YouTube video creators that have a persona, and it's just a character that they're playing. And the audience can sense that. They can sense, I mean, I've got a theatre degree, so I understand there's a difference between artifice and, the truth and the real person. We've got to kind of break that fourth wall. And it's like you're engaging with the audience. And this is what social media does, is you're engaging with the audience. You're breaking the fourth wall. You're not just creating a performance. You're not a newsreader. You're not a character. You are a real person. And so when people get to see the real person, not just the smiley face that's perfect, they will engage and they will trust. And so if you are going to do sales, for example, you have to come at it from a personal place. You have to truly believe in the product, for example.
Yes.
I do not promote anything on my channel, and I've had thousands of offers. I can go through my emails and find thousands of offers to promote things, and I never ever took any of them. Everything that I have ever used or promoted has been something that I've gone myself to use, and even the companies approached me that I've accepted their product and looked at it. I've declined doing interviews with them until I've used the product. So Kangen was one of them. I had to use it first before I talked about it. I had to live it and breathe it. And I've gotten feedback, and I've had to get feedback from other people. How are you feeling about that thing? I did, pyramids. ASEA was another one. ASEA is a big one because I see daily, the life changes that have occurred with ASEA. And that is not there's nothing that I would do just for the money. There's a lot of things I've turned down or I've stopped promoting because I don't use their products, right? But the things I use, I will share with my audience, and that's the place I'm coming from. And these are interests that I had, right? So that's the other thing, is that I got to use literally everything has kind of culminated in my life and triangulated into this point, because I was always interested. I actually not just had an arts background and theatre background, but I actually wanted to go into the natural therapies, and I have a very strong interest in health and a strong interest in holistic healing practices. So it was amazing that a lot of the stuff I talk about is so that people can find these tools to help themselves and heal themselves. And this is why I've had the people that I've had on, and I think that's why the audience, trusts and can see that it works, and it has. For the things that I have shared, these are the things that have worked.
Yes. This is what we call in the business world, exactly what you said, is like the authenticity. You create love, like, and trust. Like, so you've done exactly what they teach, is like you've created your personal brand by being your authentic self, and then people get to love, like, and trust you. And therefore, that's why you can be successful at anything you promote, because you're being authentic to yourself. Yeah.
And this is what people
didn't.
People didn't comprehend this. I had a people were upset when I said this early on, because I got scrutinized very badly with to be authentic, and there was the audience that we had, because of the tens of thousands of people in the audience. A lot of them had been screwed over by mainstream things, right? So they were mistrusting of anyone that was promoting anything, and they began calling anyone who was trying to promote products shills. Now, any other content creator that you see out there with 5 million followers or more, they will stop in the middle of their video and go, now it's time to talk to our sponsors. And they will literally promote openly things. And yet here I was going, people wanted to find something to help their health. I had a guest on to talk about it. And then I said, look, I've tried this, guys. Here's the link, blah, blah, blah. Very open about it. And I'll get called a shill. And it's like, there's a difference, right? So we've got to be really honest here. So it was people got upset when, this is in private thing. I haven't said it publicly, but I was like, JCK, Quantum Truths JCK is a brand. It is a brand. In the marketing world, it is a brand. There's a particular, the brand is me. That's what it is. It's me. The authenticity, that's the brand in terms of marketing. I'm not the one who intentionally created a brand, but that's what marketing will say. And so being yourself, you know, when you're being yourself, you are the brand. And so people need to have that. Or it might be a healing story. So let's say, you know, I'm about to interview someone from ASEA on Saturday, and you know, he had, let's just say, malignant cells that were life-threatening, and he completely cured himself with this product. And he's one of the big people in ASEA, and so his brand is that he cured the big C for himself with what he did, right? We're not allowed to say that he cured himself with that, but you know, that's basically, he did what the doctors did not expect. He survived, right? And so his brand is that, right? It's him, it's himself, and it's the story, his
Yes.
story.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So like you have like innately all by yourself figured out all this business training that, you know, like some of
By
us have
flying,
to learn. Yeah. By
just
just doing it.
intuitively, which is how I work. Yeah,
Yeah.
intuitively. I
Was it?
couldn't have studied this, like, honestly, because there is artifice and false. There's a false thing around that, Lise. It's I'm very much about speaking the truth, and I'm very much about being authentic. And you cannot manufacture authenticity.
Yeah.
You just can't. And that if there's anything, I'm realizing that it's a gift that a lot of people can't do it. They can't bear themselves. They can't. I was always the truth speaker in my family. I was always the one at Christmas parties where everyone's being fake, and I'm just pointing at people and going, "Stop it! What are you being fake for?" You know, and I'm the one calling out the bullshit. And that's just how I am. You know, that's literally how I am, and I always am and always have been. And so whenever anyone's called me fake, I've just gone, how do you fake this? Like, I literally had a woman a few months ago, and she was going for all the big names in the truther community. She was like, I'm going to use a term that my friend coined, a plastic shaman. She called herself a shaman, this lady. Made a big video just to get views because she had a small channel, and called me an actress, and like just basically said that I, because I had an acting background, I was put there by the cabal. You know, it's like, you can't fake this. I'd have to be the best actor in the world to fake this. You
Absolutely.
know,
And how much would you have to be paid to be doing this? Because really, would if you're not doing this for your own passion and for your own self,
yeah,
like why,
yeah,
you know, you wouldn't be so convincing anyway. I saw
yeah.
that when I was looking through your channel, I saw that come up in the search bar, that woman, new age actress. But and yeah, people like to label things and stuff, and yeah, but
Because they can't, you know, I mean, partly this woman is a troublemaker, but the other thing is that, and sometimes, you know, you have to think, are they the paid, you know, cabal person or whatever? Because we do have infiltrators in the media that are placed there for, you know, to push a narrative or to cause disruption to any kind of truth that's being told. But yeah, you know, just back to that thing is like, you know, I've had people say that, and these are people that are like muckrakers. In Australia, we call it a muckraker. It's a person who's raking up the muck. They're trying to out you. They're trying to do a hit piece on you. And I had that in the beginning. You know, I had people threatening. They're going, "We're going to do a hit piece on you." I said, "Go ahead, like literally go ahead. I have nothing to hide. I bare my soul. I bare my soul every day, and it's scary, right? It's really scary. I've had people contact me, friends and family, telling me to stop what I'm doing. What are you doing? You need to stop what you're doing. You are, you know, and you just keep going, right? And you just got to, because you've got to speak your truth. And I think that is, and people used to say to me, "You're so brave." That's the thing, is people are afraid of exposing themselves on social media, because the social media and the internet is forever. I keep all of my old content up. I don't delete my content, because even though I don't agree with my old videos, I keep it up, because I want to stay accountable to everybody. So in the past where I've made predictions, guess what? Some of them, people were saying that didn't come true. It came true, but it came true a year extra, like a year later than what I said, right? So still in the same month, but a year later than what I said. So I've kept it up because even though I don't agree with some maybe thoughts that I had at the time, because it's a process, it's a growth, it's a growing period. And I think that those who create content who don't change, who are just plastic and don't bear their soul, or are you don't see a growth in how they're sharing their story, I think that you can question whether or not they're legitimate. Okay. If they're always the same, just question where they're coming from.
Exactly. It's an evolution. I mean, we all evolve and we all change and we grow. I mean, if like, even if I look back at my content from 2 years ago to compare to now, like it's a evolve. And I think that is part of the authenticity. Like you already said, it's part of the authenticity, showing where you came from and where you're at now.
And being accountable as well. So like owning your mistakes is really important. So you know, I've always, if anyone's made a comment in the past, or I find a comment online on other people's videos where they're talking shit about me, I will actually, I'll talk to them, you know, and I can't see the big names out there from the truth community doing that. I just don't see them owning their stuff, right? And I'll do that. I'll actually say, well, you know, I apologize or what have you, and I'll be honest with the people. And I always own my stuff, always. You have to. It's all about, if we're going to be leaders in spirituality or leaders in personal growth, accountability is the biggest thing that you can have, and being blatantly honest is the only way to be. If I'm going to be an example to others for how to become a better person with every step that I take, then I keep myself accountable to the public.
Thank you so much, JC. I think we'll wrap it up here. Like,
cool.
We've had some people watching live, and if we didn't catch this live, we're going to be reposting it in different places so everybody can see it. And this was amazing. Thank you for being, again, so honest and so brutally honest. Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Lise. So I'll share with you my YouTube link so that you can share with your audience, and then, you know, and I'll put your links in the description below when I share this video on my channel.
Yes, absolutely. All your links will be in this post when I update it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks, Lise.
Thank you so much, JC. Bye-bye.
No worries. Bye.